is the era of Etsy print on demand coming to an end? Is Etsy POD dead? In this video, I'm going to be going over exactly what I think about where Etsy print on demand, this print on demand model is currently, and whether I think it's a good idea or not to get in today. Essentially, after I disclose my personal opinion, I am going to then give you some insight and strategy and tips on if you are going to end up getting into print on demand today on Etsy, what are the core attributes you're going to need to incorporate inside your business model to make sure that you can compete and win. And if you stay till the very end, I'm going to give away 3 extra secret sauce tips that you could use and implement into your Etsy POD store today to really help spike your sales. Without further ado, let's get into this video. Welcome back, guys. My name's Hannah Gardner. If you're new to the channel, I teach people how to build brands mainly on Etsy, but also Shopify. And I have been building brands and documenting that journey here on YouTube. I also am offering a free starter course or Etsy starter guide in the link in my description. So let's just get into it. What is my opinion? Is print on demand dead? Is it worth it? Is it too saturated? Is there opportunity to enter the print on demand space today? The answer to this is actually yes. So let's just preference this a little bit or put this in perspective a little bit. What we're seeing right now is what people are saying is very closely correlated to what we saw a couple of years ago with, say, the drop shipping model. Now, the very nature of any business model, whether it's e-commerce or not, is as it becomes saturated or as more people enter the space, things tend to change. And as an entrepreneur, especially if you're somebody that's been on Etsy for a long time, as the market changes, as competition arises, right, you have the unique opportunity to either sink or swim, and that is a choice made by you. If you're choosing to not grow, change, and adapt to the new competition, right, you're choosing to sink. If you grow, change, and make your business more competitive as the market changes, you're choosing to swim. This is just the very nature of any business, whether, like I said, whether it's e-commerce, real estate, it's all very similar. Competition forces us to build better businesses and become better entrepreneurs, and this is something that I drill into my students. You can sit there and cry about it, or you can evolve, adapt, and grow and become a better business owner. I wanted to preference this because this is an important theme throughout this video. Needless to say, going back to the whole drop shipping point, is the same hype is happening that we saw with dropshipping is happening now with print on demand. But there's some core differences, which I'm going to explain in a second. But the similarities of the two models is that the hype right now is very strong, which is bringing a lot of competition to the space. And also the dropshipping, the nature of the dropshipping model is that, you know, when you're doing print on demand, you don't have to do your own fulfillment, right? So if I want to sell t-shirts, right, I can use a company like Printify, prints it on a blank and fulfills the order for me. Same thing with the drop shipping model. The drop shipping model was not printing designs on blanks, but the drop shipping model was going and sourcing Chinese manufacturers, usually selling cheaper to lower quality items. And then once you got an order through your Shopify store, not your Etsy store, basically the Chinese manufacturer would automatically fulfill the order and ship it to your customers. Now, the core differences here is that in the cheap drop shipping Chinese manufacturer model, you know, essentially what's happening is a very poor customer experience because the very nature of drop shipping is, you know, it's coming from China, it's a lower quality item, and then the customer usually has to wait upwards to a month to get their item, sometimes 2 months, 3 months, right? Which by the very nature, it depletes the customer experience. When your traffic source in drop shipping was Facebook ads and Instagram ads, you know, Facebook owns Instagram, so Facebook caught on, and that then depletes the user experience of people using those platforms on Instagram and Facebook, and Facebook cares about their user experience. So if all their users feel like they're getting, you know, pretty much scammed by the Facebook ads, right? Facebook started cracking down immensely on people that were drop shipping basically through their traffic source. So that was the first thing that really hurt drop shippers. The next thing is the iOS 14 update happened, and basically anyone that had an iPhone could opt out of retargeting ads, which in the drop shipping model, essentially your margins were already very thin. By the very nature, if your advertising cost increases, it kind of ruins the whole business model. So unlike that, in the print on demand model, if you go to the main key players that are drop shipping with Printify, basically, you'll see their reviews are actually pretty good. 4.8, ranging from 4.8 to 5-star reviews. So the user experience of a Printify drop shipper actually is giving a good customer experience. And not to mention the horizontal opportunity to scale with Printify, because there's so many designs and there's so many new designs and so many social trends happening or social events happening that you can create designs around, where there's still a lot of opportunity, and specifically still opportunity right now. As I know this personally, as I know some of my friends who are experts at print on demand have just launched stores only a few months ago, are in the tens of thousands of sales already. So there's definitely still opportunity. If you're trying to get in today, what are some key attributes of the stores that are winning? So the first thing that I can just point out point blank is, if you really look at the stores that are at the top, they have many listings. So I'm not just talking about a couple hundred listings, I'm talking about in the thousands of listings. What this does for your store is really increases your searchability, because you're making shirts that spread across many keywords, which means you're gonna show up on many pages. So obviously, if you're launching today, I would recommend not just killing yourself and trying to come up with 1,000 designs as fast as possible, because it's also a mix of quantity but also quality. So it's better for you, being a new person, to make small hedges over long periods of time than, say, try to get to 1,000 listings in the first month, right? That's just not realistic. So I would make it a goal to get out whatever is realistic for you and stick to that goal per week over long periods of time. So if it's 3 new listings a week, if it's 5 new listings a week, whatever is realistic and attainable for you to maintain over long periods of time. Next key attribute that I would say is making sure that your overall brand vibe is cohesive. So it's not to say that you have to limit yourself to one niche when you're doing print on demand, right? It doesn't mean that you only have to do baby onesies if you're doing baby, right? You can have a print on demand store that looks very cohesive and matching, even though you have baby, but then you also have some adult shirts that have some, things that are targeting pet lovers, right? So what I'm talking about when I'm saying cohesive is that the overall brand vibe flows and makes sense. It's very similar when you go to a very aesthetic Instagram page and you scroll through their feed and you're like, wow, all of these images really flow nicely together. And so this is kind of like branding 101. What these cohesive brands are doing is they're following very similar fonts, very similar color schemes, and very similar patterns and similar mock-ups, right? And that's just what makes the overall brand vibe very strong, because that brand vibe is what specifically talks to a certain type of customer in the niches that you're going to be in. Having, inconsistent fonts, inconsistent branding, or inconsistent designs that don't match does end up hurting you, since there are so many stores coming to the table having good, cohesive, aesthetically pleasing branding. Now let's move into attribute number 3, which is adding a personalization component to your Etsy shop. So adding anything personalization to your store just increases the value proposition and increases the competitiveness of your shop in comparison to just standard print-on-demand shops. To maintain your competitiveness, you're gonna need to go a step further with something, and personalization is definitely a way to do that. Now, currently today, if you want to offer customizations, it's not a fully automated system on the back end. You are going to have to offer a personalization form, and then according to what they want personalized, you actually have to manually change the design and then fulfill it through Printify. But luckily, there is actually going to be an automated solution to this. One of my personal friends who's also a wildly successful print-on-demand seller. His name is Steven. He is coming out with a software called Hello Custom, and this is actually going to automate your entire customization or personalization component to your business. I'm gonna let you guys watch this short clip to give you a better explanation directly from Steven on how this is going to work.
So in the last few years, I've sold over 200,000 personalized print products on Etsy, and I owe a lot of my success to personalization. Etsy is a marketplace where people go to find unique goods that you cannot find anywhere else. And as a result, personalized print products tend to sell better than non-personalized print products. It's also a higher barrier to entry, one that 99 out of 100 sellers are not currently doing. So when you find yourself selling the same product on the same marketplace, bought from the same print provider for the same price with the same lead times, essentially print on demand, it's almost impossible to stand above the competition beyond your design. And the way that I've been able to win as a non-graphic designer is through personalization. The downside to personalization is it's manual. Every single time an order came in, we had to manually open up the file, personalize it, check for typos, and then manually push it to the print provider. It took about 5 minutes. So with Hello Custom, we're able to automate everything. We're able to automate the personalization, and we're able to automate the fulfillment with a simple click of a button. So for example, we just received the following order on our Etsy shop. And what Hello Custom did is it read the order and it automatically personalized the graphic and displayed it in this approval card. On the right-hand side of the approval card, we see everything from the Etsy order. We see the thumbnail, the title, the quantities, the colors, the size, and the raw personalization, what this shopper typed in. In this case, she wrote, "Can the name be Kendra Fairs and the date be 2023? As well as she added a note to seller, is it possible to get this by the 28th? So what Hello Custom did is it read this personalization here, it took the graphic for this product, and it made the following graphic, Kendra Fairs 2023. It uses the correct font, the correct colors, the correct spacing, the correct placement, and with the correct personalization. We're able to personalize names, dates, addresses, and phone numbers automatically using AI. So you're able to see the personalized graphics side by side with the Etsy order. And if everything looks correct, all you have to do is click approve and we automatically fulfill this to Printify on your behalf. So what used to take 5 minutes, you're able to now do with a simple click of a button.
Now, if you guys want to sign up for a Hello Custom, there is a waitlist in the link in the description. It's not currently available yet, but this is an absolute game changer for print on demand. And obviously, you want to automate your business as much as you can, especially in print on demand. This is why people are attracted to print on demand in the first place. So make sure you check out that link in the description and sign up for his waitlist. All right, the fourth key attribute kind of goes hand in hand with the overall cohesive branding component attribute that we talked about previously, which is making sure that your mockups are lifestyle-driven mockups versus white background photography or white background mockups. This is a kind of an amateur mistake that I see a lot of new Etsy sellers make. Historically, lifestyle imagery converts better. And it's not to say that some of your white background images or listings won't get sales, but like I said, historically, lifestyle converts better than white background photography on any product, basically, whether it's candles, jewelry, whatever you're selling. So that's just one thing to look out for. And again, we're gonna wanna make sure that those mockups are following our cohesive branding. The fifth key attribute to a competitive print-on-demand store is making sure that we are running our Etsy PPC, and our goal is to get to the max budget allowance. Now, this is especially important for old print-on-demand sellers. If you're watching this video and you've been doing print-on-demand for many, many years, but historically have never spent money on ads, this is especially important for you because what you might be seeing is maybe a decline in your sales, or many of your listings that historically used to be bestsellers are now losing their rank or losing their momentum. Now, I'm not saying that it's only because of your ads that your store might be losing momentum, but a key element of why it could be happening is because you historically aren't spending money on ads. Because you have to remember, running Etsy PPC increases the SEO of your store as a whole. And one thing that a print-on-demand shop that has hundreds or even thousands of listings might experience versus, someone like me that sells physical goods, and I'm limited to the amount of clicks I get on my ads because of the keywords that I'm using, because your listings can reach such a broader search of people, your ads might actually spend a way higher budget than say mine, where when I run my ads and I have it set to 1,000 a day, maybe only spends 150 to 200 to maybe 300 in a single day, where your ads might actually spend 600-700 or even the whole budget, which is a lot of money if your store is new or isn't fully optimized yet. So if you're new and you want to play it safe, actually go ahead and opt out of turning on all of your listings and putting ad revenue behind all your listings, and only actually turn on the ads for listings that organically start gaining momentum first, and test those ads out first instead of just turning your ads on all of your listings if you want to play it safe. And the theory is, especially if you're a new print-on-demand seller, your ad cost should decrease over time because it should become easier to convert a customer as you get more reviews and you get more social proof and more of your listings indexed organically in the Etsy search pages. Again, guys, I have an entire Etsy PPC video and strategy video in my channel, which I can link above. I'm not gonna go super deep into it into this video so we can keep on going. The last key attribute before I get into my extra added tips is setting up listings that incentivize group sales. How we do this is by basically making our main image or our thumbnail image some sort of grouped mock-up showing more than one item. So like mommy and me shirts, or shirts that may be celebrating a bachelorette party, or sports team shirts. That mixed with also adding a personalization component is absolutely huge. And I know all these little attributes might seem like they're just little things, but when you do them all together and you do them well, it makes all of the difference for your store, because the lazy sellers overlook all these little things. But like I said, when you do them all together, it makes that engine such a strong Etsy engine. So now we're into our 3 extra added tips. The first tip that I have for you is one way to pretty much immediately increase your CTR, and this is what most of the top sellers do, is what they do is in their listing, they make the least sold variation option a cheaper price than all the rest of the variation options they have. What this does is basically on the front end, it shows that you have a very low price. In comparison to your competition, if your price is lower than everybody else's, but your branding and your main image looks really, really good, you are gonna earn that click, say, over somebody else. So again, this is a very common thing that a lot of the top POD people do, and they'll make that price like almost a break-even price, or maybe even losing $1. Now, obviously, you don't wanna make the price like $2 or something that just looks scammy when they go to the listing and they see that it's like, you know, a quarter of the price compared to all the other ones. We might want to not do that, but making it at least a little bit more of a competitive price than everybody else could definitely earn you that click. Now, the second tip, which is something that you will also see many people do, is start and end a sale every single day. And what this does is it gives you an urgency badge where it says this sale is ending in XYZ amount of hours. Goal with your listings is to stand out in comparison to your competition. And so having that extra badge just brings more attention to your listing. And it also creates urgency, because it's like, if I buy now to at least get 10% off or whatever, I might as well buy now than tomorrow so I can at least get that 10% off. Now, I posted a video on this, and some people said that this is sale manipulation, but then I talked to a lot of my other friends that are huge POD sellers, and they all do it. And I don't know how it could be sale manipulation, considering Etsy allows you to start and end a sale the same day. What if you want to run a different sale every day? Like, you have the option to do so in your account. So I don't believe it should hurt your account, but if you're worried about it, then I would actually reach out to Etsy support and see what they say about it. And if you get any information, make sure you comment that down below, because I'm curious to know what they think about it. Finally, my last tip is exploring putting a badge in the main image. The goal with your listings is to add anything that makes your listing stand out in comparison to your competitors in the search pages. So sometimes you'll see listings have a free shipping badge, sometimes you'll see them have next day shipping badge or same day shipping badge or something that, you know, brings more attention to your listing. And you can get a proof of concept by adding this graphic to your image by basically running 2 listings, one with the badge and one without the badge, run some ads behind it and go into your ad stats and see which one has the higher CTR. Guys, I hope that you got some value out of this video. Make sure you're checking out Hello Custom in the link in the description, my free Etsy starter course also in the link in the description. And also, if you want to see any other content from me, specifically that full Etsy PPC video, make sure you check that out in my channel. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.